We have now input the data into the spreadsheet. What we need to do now are formulas. You all know a calculator, the four basic functions of multiply, divide, subtract, and add. What we have to do here is multiply 22.5 hours times 1750. We'll talk about formatting later and make it look good. And to do that, it's those numbers, but we're working with cell references. It's B1 times C1. If we type in just B1 star C1, that's all we're going to get. However, we want to turn on the formula. To do that, we just hit the equal sign on the keyboard. And then we see the equal, and then this becomes active. It doesn't matter what order, but we just click inside here. That's the easy way. Star. Hit the checkbox to complete the formula. That is the gross pay. We have to do the pay for the other three people. And to do that, we just get the black cross here, pull it down. So we've got that all done. Next thing here, we need to put in the assumptions, knowing what's going on here. We need a row above here. The easy way to do this is to put a row above. I'm showing a lot of shortcuts. We click inside the one next to Clark. As you can see, the first cell is clear whenever you highlight a range. I right click, I left click on insert. So I'm going to type in the information, name, number hours, rate, gross. Then we have taxes, Fed tax, state tax, Social Security tax. And then we end up with our net pay. So we did that. Now, let's look inside here. It says B2 times C2. We go down here, B3. It always knows what row it is. We're doing the federal tax. The federal tax is 0.2, which is in B10. If we drag it down, we don't want it to become B11, etc. We always want to lock it in. We don't want to do the formula 4 times or whatever if you have 400 people. You're going to lock the cell address here. So it's equal. We click inside here, the 393. We multiply. Click in here. To lock in the cell address of B10, it will read $B $10. You could go up there and edit and type it in. What you can do is just press the F4 key. If you have a Mac, it would be Command T. We complete the formula. We pull it down. We're going to be doing these here, and I'm going to show a couple of tricks here. I want to do the state tax. Again, the state tax is based on the gross pay. We hit the F4 key again. I'm going to create these three formulas and just pull them down. I'm going to do the Social Security tax. Again, equal gross pay times the 0765 or B12. Work with the cell references, lock it in with the F4, the net pay. We're subtracting columns E, F, and G from D. Do we need to hit the F4 key here? No. No, we do not, because we're always working in this row for Clark, for James, or whoever. So all it is equal gross minus, and I am tapping the left arrow key, and I go there. I don't need to hit the minus sign afterwards. If I want to stay in the cell that I'm doing it in, rather than clicking on the checkbox, I can hold down Control Enter. So now I go here, I get the black cross here, pull it down. Next thing that I want to do, I want to format these numbers so they look good. I want to make them meaningful. I highlight from here to here. This is all currency. We click on the dollar sign. I want to make the numbers here all consistent with decimal points. I could click on the comma. What that would do, it would be like 1,00.00. You can reduce decimal points. You can add, but it's going to round, okay? And I want to make these look like percents. I highlight this. You got this all on the Home tab. Very easy. And I want the numbers to show up correctly. I add a couple of decimal points here. Next thing. We've got the payroll done. It looks good. However, we need to put in the last name. Watch this. Because you can't make out a check just to Clark. I click inside the B, highlight it, insert. I'll type in last, down arrow or enter key, Kent, Lane, Olson, Luthor. Got that. Other thing too, we want these numbers here to the left, okay? You could cut and paste them different ways. You could click on the scissors there, cut, click over here and paste. You have this thing here where the mouse has a white arrow with 4 pointers behind it. I can click and just drag it straight to the left. I call it the dagger. Now we want to put a row at the top that says Daily Planet Payroll. We're going to add 2 rows at the top. We click on the 1, drag down to the 2, right click, again insert. I go into A1, type in Daily Planet Payroll. Control Enter. I'm in there. Now I want to make it 16-point red. We click on the red here or choose a color here. But I said the instructions here, make it red. I make it 16 point. I can make it bold if I want to. Now I want it centered between A and I. The easy way to do this is just put your mouse in A1, drag over to I1, merge and center. We click on this. So we've got that. Now let's say we want to give it a light background color. We click on the drop down arrow next to the bucket. I could choose like a light green. You want a good contrast. You don't want red on burgundy. So we have that all done. Now I want to name the sheet here. We do the payroll every week. So if I double click in here, it says sheet 1 September. Spell it right. September 5. Now I hit the enter key. I'm out of it. We want to give this to payroll so they can issue the checks. So what we're going to do, we want to print this here. We have to do the page setup. And what I do here, I click on the page layout tab. You got this little launcher here. I click on that. This goes, they have this in versions going back to versions 97. I click inside the landscape. That makes it horizontal. Shows a little diagram. I could say fit the page. That way if it's going off by a column or two or a row or two, it'll stay there. I'm going to leave it as letter size. Margins, we could leave that alone. You could adjust margins if you need to. Header, footer. We want to put information in the footer. And what we're going to do here, we're going to click on custom footer. And what I want to do here, I want to put in the date, the time, and the sheet name. So you've got these little icons here. You hold your mouse there. It will do that. It'll give you a tooltip. So I'm going to click on the calendar, date. Click in here, the clock, the time. I want to put in the name of the sheet, which is September 5. And these are codes here. So I say, OK. I'm going to click on Print Preview so you see what it looks like. And you can see how it has the date, the time, and I could zoom this up if I need to at the bottom there. I want to get out of the Print Preview. The easiest way is to hit the Escape key. Now we have to do the payroll for September 12th. Does this mean a lot more work? Of course not. We're going to copy the sheet, make a couple of changes. I put my finger in the Control key or the Command key with a Mac, hold the clicker down, drag it to the right. You cannot have 2 sheets with the same name, so I double click in here and I just type in 12th. hit the enter key. What's really great is that, let's say, the hours have changed. Let's say Clark worked 31 and a quarter, 31.25. Look how the numbers change. And let's say James Olson got a raise. She's now making 11.25. I just click on the cell, type over it. Next thing I want to do, I need to know a few things. I want to know what I spent on everything last week or on a running total. You can add the numbers. You would be doing this with a calculator. You would be adding up each of these numbers. But if you have a column of, let's say, or a sheet with 300 people, you don't want to be doing it that way. We go back on the Home tab. This is great. We click on the Auto Sum. We click on it again. If you ever see a railroad track like you're seeing here, it means it's too narrow. To do that, you could just double click on it or just widen it. And then watch this. I go and pull this over to the right. Black crosshair. I do have some railroad tracks. I can make it bold to make it stand out. I could double click on this. Next thing here. I want to change things in here. We go into this cell here. I want to make it, they want federal tax, okay? Now, see how you're not seeing everything here? What you can do is you can wrap text in a cell. You don't want to type it in a row above and a row below. You click on wrap text, and if you want everything centered, you can highlight the cells, and we all know how to center. That's a basic. We click on the center icon. Last thing I want to do in this lesson, I want to talk about statistics. You want to do average, min, and max, okay? Pretty easy. We're going to go over here. We're going to type things in here. We're going to type the word average, minimum, and max or high. I want to know the average of the hourly rate, okay? To do that, you can click to the right of the auto sum. We click on average. Now that's not the numbers here. It's shooting up there. We are smarter than the computer. We highlight these cells here. I want to do the minimum. I click over here. I click on min. Again, highlight the correct rates. And then I want to do the max. I hit the enter key at the end. And then I choose max. Again, select the correct cells. Other thing we want to do. Let's say we're going to print this out. So we've got that there. And let's say I want to do a few more things with this thing here. I want to center this on the page. I go to page setup down there. And to do that, I want to center this vertically and horizontally on the page. We go into margins, center horizontally, center vertically. And let's say we want to put grid lines on here. We click on grid lines. We say OK. It's previewing everything here. Now, let's say they decide they want to put borders instead, where you only have lines around the cells with data. I'm going to go out of this. Next thing I want to do, I want borders around here. I go over here, click over here, and let's say I want to put borders. And we're in the font group. You get this thing that looks like an underscore. You click on all borders. So you got that there. Now I want to show you a trick. You want borders around here and around here. We're going to talk about non-adjacent ranges. I go into here, highlight these cells. To highlight non-adjacent ranges, I hold down the Control key. I click here, highlight. Now it shows the 4 window panes there. I don't have to reselect from the whole menu there. I click on that. Now, let's say I want to put a border around here too. I could click there. Now, if I want to print this, but I don't want those borders to show, or I don't want the grid lines to show, I click in here. I go into Not Format Cells. I go onto Page Layout. Make sure you're on the right thing. If you ever get the wrong box showing up, like let's say you didn't want this, hit the Escape key. I click here, I do want this. So what I do is I go into the Sheet tab. I shut off the grid lines. I click on Print Preview. And this is what the finished product will look like. Other thing we can do, last thing of the lesson, let's say you want to show the formulas. This is good if you're doing a diagnostic and you want to see what's going on. You click on the Formulas tab. And what you do here, do you see what says Show Formulas? You click on that thing. This will show all your formulas. So if I were to print this out, it's going to show everything in there with your formulas in there. I want to shut this off. I could shut this off this way by clicking on this or hold down the Control and the tilde key. So we're all done with our first Excel lesson.